Hey everyone, it's Quentin from Chisel Tools, and yeah, first of all, sorry about the last few um, videos with no sound. That was a pretty noob mistake to not check that, but let's get going. I'll have to go through a few extra things. So the last couple versions of Chisel Tools have featured the portfolio tool for the pantograph, which allows loading and saving of shapes that work between different servers and worlds. Uh, let's, with the pantograph in my hand, let's just look for everything with spider. Now, actually, the pantograph doesn't have to be in your hand for listing stuff, just for loading stuff, which we're going to do now. We're going to do .pf spider, pf load, mistake, spider, what did I call it here? 2mat ground oriented. So now see it says here copied spider 2mat ground oriented to the pantograph, which means if we put this in paste mode, oh, this is giving away something else for the Chisel Tools, but you can see I've pasted the spider shape. This was actually made on a server a long time ago, but as you can see, I can bring it into the world. So say I made some changes to it, and then I've copied it with my pantograph. You can also do a pf save, test for video. You can see down there it says save test for video portfolio, so that would be available to load into the pantograph again. So yeah, and also see where it's loaded, it says uses 2 materials, so it will tell you how many materials were originally used. And if you have a different number of materials, it'll just probably end up with a single color. It might try and match, like if your block has 5 materials and the other one had 2, then you might get the 2 materials in there. But anyways, let's move on to the paintbrush. And actually, I didn't mean to show off the Jonas paintbrush right away. Let's go to the standard paintbrush. And so what the paintbrush is meant to do is to add materials to your chisel blocks, and also to overwrite materials with something else. So let's start with, actually no, I'm gonna pick I got just some sand blocks here, but I want something that's gonna show off better. All right, so we're gonna make this into the pantograph. Or actually, let's cover this quick too. This is the true chisel, which is just kind of a joke with some chiseling friends, but its functionality is no joke. And basically, what it is a fairly expensive endgame chisel that you can use without having a hammer in your offhand, which is obviously quite nice when you're doing a bunch of chisels. It's a bit expensive. The recipe is 2 other steel chisels and a steel hammer, and the hammer actually gets used. It's not a tool or anything. But that gives you the true chisel, which allows you to chisel without a hammer in your offhand, which if you're not doing a lot of chiseling, it may not seem like a big deal, but those who know, know. So now we got this chiseled item. You can see it's got 1 material. So if you want to add another material, of course, you can always go and click on there. And it fell out of my hand because I'm in creative. Oh, it's being a bit difficult at the moment. Let me just grab another regular chisel. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's being difficult right now. It's because I'm recording a video. Oh, it's because it's the same kind of sand, I think, that I already had in there. So that was a user error, the user being me. So you can see this is how you usually would add stuff to your blocks, which of course means every time if you're doing like a big thing with this sand, then you have to go on each one, add in your block, then go here, add in your block, and it can get a bit tedious as you go. So what the paintbrush can do now that it couldn't do before is you can, this is the It's a new paintbrush. So if I put this, what were we adding? The granite sand. I'm gonna put this in slot 1, and I'm holding down shift to crouch, and it's not working. Did I already add it to this? Oh, because it's not a chisel bucket. There we go. Let's try that again. So you heard it made a click just one time, and that has actually inserted the this granite sand into this chisel piece. So if we're going around doing a whole bunch of blocks, you could quickly add it in. So there. Now if we look at our thing, you can see we have 3 different materials in there now, which is just handy stuff. So the new things, and actually let's also go through this because this is not something new, but it's something I forgot I had put in there. You see here I have a bucket of yellow dye, and I am going to, we'll just do the shift click. So you can see now you get creative block 36, which just happened. It's a confusing name, but you get the basically yellow because we had yellow dye. So if we have green dye, a bucket of green dye, we're going to get be able to add green to this. And let's show the other function of the paintbrush. If I'm not holding shift now, so if I click on that, instead of adding it to the list of materials, it's changed the one that we targeted. So, hello. Rude. Anyways, so let's say we wanted, you can actually add quite a few things. Let's say we wanted to make this a dirt base block. We'll just go like that, and now everything that was the original color is now dirt. So that's how the paintbrush works. So remember, I'm shift clicking, and that's adding to the list. So we'll put that in there, and then if you just right click without shift, it will change the block that you're pointed at. So there's a bit of a spoiler already in this video, but this is the new, brand new in this version, Jonas tool brush, which is just uses a regular steel only paintbrush and any 2 Jonas parts, which you can usually get off of, I can't remember where you find them in runes. They're like medium hard to come by. It depends on the mod packs you're running and stuff, of course, but I mean, it's not too bad. But the Jonas tool brush is special. I have the same green paint in here, and this is only for the dyes. I believe I have everything except for the woad blue dye set up. But if I right click and I got a bucket of green dye, it changes it to the glowing green creative block. So you should be able to do this for all the dyes. And the cost for dyes, whether it's the Jonas brush or the other one, is 0.1 liters of dye, which is not bad. But let's click on there. You can see it all glows, which is probably a bit much. So if you use the regular one, you get the, I guess the non-glowing version of the creative block. And if you use the Jonas with dye, then you get the glowing version. So yeah, that's pretty nice for working with blocks in a survival world. So it still has a cost. Again, 0.1 liters of dye, and actually the Jonas paintbrush, being that it can make light sort of, it actually goes fairly quick on eating this up. Like, it has a fairly low durability even though it's steel. That's just a bit of balance. As an example, this little rune I was messing around with basically did all these blocks before the brush broke. So if you're doing a giant build with lights, then you're going to go through a lot of these. But I think at the point where you're building a lot, you should have quite a few Jonas parts around. And I can always balance it in the future and possibly add settings to the server so I don't think I'd make it break any faster than it does, but in the future you might get more durability. We'll see how it goes. We'll see the feedback from server owners and stuff. But at least now you have an option to add glowing blocks, which are great for stuff. Now, again, all the dyes except the woad. There's a few different ones, like the gray dye will get you, I believe, a cyan mid blue color, and then the blue dye, and I'll probably add something to the for the woad blue, but the regular blue right now will get you actually, let's do the shift click, and now it's in there. So we'll pick that. We got two different blues. The other special one is black. So black will get you white. So let's click there. That is the dim white. Now if you actually use white dye, then you're going to get the very bright. You see the amount of light that this block here. Let's just make sure we're at night here. Time set night. So you can see how that's fairly bright. Let's go back to the black dye, just so we can compare. And we'll do the same. We'll shift click it. Oh, and also you can see at night that the Jonas paintbrush is actually a light source on its own. That's just for fun. It's kind of handy, but I mean, it's limited use because you have to have it in your hand and you can't actually put it against a wall or anything. So, oh, I just blew my block away. That's lovely. Let's try that again. There. So you can see this is actually lighting up a decent amount, whereas this is more just a glow just for this block. So you can actually make lights with white dye. Should be fairly balanced, really. Like, I believe white dye is a little trickier. Well, let's just look. Grr. Oh, it doesn't even show up with it. Oh, baby, you can't make white dye. Oh my gosh. I think I've been playing enough modded that it didn't quite click that maybe white dye wasn't available to craft. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Huh. Well, if you want to use this, you'll have to have a mod pack that adds the white dye recipe. Yeah, I can always change this in the future. I mean, leave your feedback of how you think it should work. Oh, and there's one more thing, and this is fairly experimental, but in theory there are many blocks you can use now with this that you cannot use chiseling regularly. And this is experimental, but you can see I've clicked on it and changed the sand into a leaf block. Now, I'm saying it's experimental, and I guess technically not supported, because it's a little tricky to work with, and certain objects you put in here, you will get the little white question mark, or you'll have weird transparency issues, but there's nothing that's going to crash your game. It's just going to be weird sometimes. So you can see you could even use a painting. Now in survival, whatever you're putting here are going to get used up. So if you're willing to sacrifice a painting to get this block with a painting on it, then feel free. So just be aware that this will eat blocks. And here, actually, let's go into survival. Hopefully there's nothing around to kill me. And you can see the painting's gone now. So that's an expensive block, depending on how common paintings are in your world. But anyways, that's it for now, and I hope that look forward to seeing what you make with the Chisel Tools, and thanks for watching.